Welcome today to our e-commerce masterclass where we will talk about secrets to scale your eBay, Amazon and Shopify business. Regardless at whatever level you are, I can promise you next 45 minutes to 1 hour will be packed with tons of value. My name is Zensha and I've been selling online from past 10 years, but I've been recently full-time seller from past 3 years. I have 207 private labels on Amazon and nearly 10,000 listings on eBay. Today, I am with a great panel where everyone is champion at what they do, from the compliance to the product research to the growing and scaling your business all the way to fulfillment. So let's get started with the introduction. Melissa, if you can go first.
Absolutely. My name is Melissa Simonson. I'm the head of marketing at eva.guru. I think some people are familiar with Eva, not everybody. Eva is a platform that helps sellers to build, scale, and master their Amazon businesses. So that works with repricing, replenishments, and just keeping an eye on the overall profit so that you can maximize those and have a great exit or have a great holiday season in Q4.
Everyone is looking forward to holidays. John, if you can go next, please.
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good to be back on this panel. I'm excited for today's conversations. I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm the co-founder of ZonGuru. We have 17 different business intelligence toolset, software solutions, and automation for you to use on your Amazon business, research, listing and launch, profitability, reviews, alerts, tracking, etc. And we're integrated into Amazon USA, Europe, Australia, and India. So you can use us in any of those marketplaces. And I also am a multi-brand seller as well, so I can jump in on the seller side as well. So good to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. Rob, if you can go next, please.
Sure. Everyone, really happy to be joining this webinar tonight. So my name is Rob Gannon. I work for Huboo. We are one of the fastest growing fulfillment providers in the UK and Europe at the moment. We're working with just over 1,400 clients now since our inception in 2017. So I work on the enterprise team, basically heading up the procurement of the larger contracts for Huboo. And I'm really excited to tell you guys a little bit more about what we do in a little bit.
Temur, if you can go next, please. Rob, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Zan. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Taimur Ghafoor. I'm one of the senior accountants here at Osome UK. I specialize in e-commerce, especially Amazon, Shopify, and eBay. And my job is to ensure how these platform works in terms of your finances and numbers, and what analytical tools and numbers we can use to grow the business and obviously monitor, control your money, and obviously help you bring as much as you can back home and enjoy that money. So yes, as an accountant, our job is to look at your finances and automate the whole process and help you ease up your admin work.
Temur, thank you so much for that. So Rob, let's get started with you. When it comes to running an e-commerce business, obviously buying process have to be smooth, the appropriate packing as well, fast and reliable delivery. What tips you can give us today? I hope I think you have some slides for us to share. So if we can go through the screen share and let's get started with that.
Sure, absolutely. I'll just share that now. One moment. Okay. Hopefully that's coming through okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. So what I'd like to talk to everyone about tonight is how a modern fulfillment provider such as Huboo can help you scale and capitalize on that new business, that really important new business. Peak season, it's big business for e-commerce merchants of all sizes, big and small. In the past, sales and marketing strategies, they're enough to maximize your returns over that period, but that's no longer enough in the current age. So To remain competitive and capitalize fully, companies now need to be looking at optimizing their fulfillment process all year round, especially ahead of the big rush in peak season like we're in now. So to really see success, you need to ensure that there are going to be no distribution problems, knowing where your biggest spikes are going to come from, and also being able to react quickly to those changes. So in this short presentation that I'm going to do tonight, we're going to be looking at various ways a modern 3PL like Huboo, we can help you win big over that peak season and then grow into 2022. So that's including customer satisfaction, smooth buying journey, and that warehouse management. So I guess a good place to start is, who are we? So Huboo is a full stack, tech-driven, multi-channel 3PL. We're growing rapidly at the moment. I mentioned earlier, we were founded only in 2017. So we've actually grown really, really quickly since our days when we started in a self-storage box in Bath. So we've come a long way. We've now got warehouses in the UK and Netherlands, in Eindhoven, and also recently in Madrid in Spain as well. So we're available all across Europe. And right now we've got a company that's incorporating us in 17 countries, and we're also planning another 5 to 10 sites over the next 12 months. So what we're helping our clients to do is really expand globally and have that local mentality. Recently we completed a Series B fundraising round, so we've raised 60 million from various VC backers, and that's fueling that growth into Europe at the moment, which all of our clients are going to benefit from. So I think the thing that makes us slightly different and where we've seen a lot of our success, we're very similar to any other warehouse in that we pick, we pack, and we dispatch. But the real key thing that we do, which sets us aside from the competition, is the hub model. So our founders, Martin and Paul, they researched the market for years before Huboo was started. So we really looked into the industry, we looked at the problems, we looked at the constraints. And what the hub model is, if you imagine a warehouse, we split the warehouse into segments. We call them hubs. It's almost like a beehive structure. What our warehouse operatives do, they walk a much shorter distance to actually pick the client's products. In turn, that gives us increased efficiency, increased accuracy, and we translate that back into the pricing that we offer. And that's what allows us to give our clients the most sort of industry-leading prices for the fulfillment process that are available in the UK and Europe at the moment. Another really good thing about the hub model is the people that work within it. You generally get 1 to 2 guys that run a hub, or girls, and those people, they're an extension of the client's own team. They work on behalf of them. You get to build a really good relationship with these guys. So it doesn't feel like you're outsourcing to someone that you've got no relationship with, and you can have constant contact with them through our ticketing system. So it really makes that outsourcing process a lot more stress-free. So, when we're thinking about the order fulfillment and why it's so important to retain those new customers, you'll have all seen the flurry of statistics around sort of how many people are shopping online and booming global online sales from the last year alone. Companies, they are looking to take advantage of this. It's just no longer enough to just provide their customers with the right products because there's simply too much competition. So if we get some perspective on order fulfillment and the trends that we've seen over 2021, 84% of customers won't return to a brand. They won't come back after one poor delivery experience, which is really, really high. And we're looking at 89% of young consumers which are likely to promote a new brand as a result of a positive experience. So really interesting statistics there. It's very easy to lose people. Only 32% of customers, they're willing to wait over 3 working days for delivery. So you've got to be quick. Everyone wants that Amazon-esque experience. They want that next day delivery and they want it now. Looking at that, at the same time, 48% of consumers, they said that they were happy to pay for convenience. So they're paying that higher rate when they're purchasing to make sure that they get it quicker. They don't want to wait. And things like click and collect, dispelling the myth that fast delivery trumps all, there we go. Too many delivery options at checkout, that can be detrimental to the convenience, the retailers. And after all, you know, might lead to higher rates of cart abandonment, where people will basically get, you know, so far down the line and then they'll just give up. Also, 62% of customers expect an exchange or a refund within 30 days of a purchase. So getting the returns piece right is really, really key. 92% of customers will return to buy again. So we've got some fulfillment specific related factors that some could say are proven to be able to have an impact on online sales conversions. So, you know, we've got some examples here: low shipping costs, you know, something extra special, order tracking, late cut-off times for shipping. These are all things that are really, really important to giving a great experience. And I think, you know, when we're looking at these in terms of, you know, making sure that you're growing your business, and a lot of these are quite hard for individual sellers to achieve by themselves before outsourcing. So, you know, I think the real question that you want to be asking is, you know, how achievable is all of this to you by yourself? Some people, you know, they might be able to handle all of that, but others, you know, they might struggle to achieve all of these points working under your own roof. And if you do have a warehouse in place and you're not fulfilling from your garage or, you know, your front living room with lots of parcels stacked around, you know, what costs are you incurring? What are your overheads to try and implement all of these? And is outsourcing to a third-party logistics company like Huboo something that's going to save you money and time? So in terms of what options, if we look at those, you know, for most sellers, you will start fulfilling the orders by yourself. Everyone will start that way. So whilst that can be manageable for a while, it's hard to meet all those expectations that we spoke about on the previous slide by yourself. So, you know, packaging the items yourself, monitoring the orders, be it through just one channel that you started on or omni-channel. If you're selling across multiple channels, you know, printing those labels can all become quite hard to fit into a daily routine when you've got the other hassles of running a business, like developing your product ranges or you know, marketing the company. So my advice, you know, utilize channel and order management softwares. There are some fantastic ones out there. You know, that can really take a lot of work off your hands. And then my advice to the UK sellers is at least to make some use of the new click and collect services available. So, you know, another disadvantage of doing it yourself is that you don't have the is that you don't have the carrier turning up outside your door with a lorry. So we can take those problems away. So for Amazon as well, you know, there's always the barrier between FBA and FBM. So, you know, Amazon run a very efficient delivery service. You know, they will keep your customers well updated during the delivery process. Returns, you know, when everything goes smoothly with Amazon, they're pretty hassle-free for the customer, at least, you know, perhaps not always for the merchant. You know, a modern 3PL like Huboo, we've got rock solid integrations with Amazon. So receiving orders in real time, updating stock levels, it is a full integration. And, you know, with Amazon, the consumer is their customer. And that means all of the protection is afforded to them. But with a 3PL, you're the customer. So it's afforded to you. So that's something to consider. You know, the two main choices, FBA and FBM, there are pros and cons to each. But more importantly, it's about your business. You know, different product types, different models, they might be suited to either fulfilled by Amazon or fulfilled by merchant. A tech-focused, you know, 3PL like Huboo, it's a really good way to meet those expectations and fuel your growth. So for orders from other marketplaces, when we're thinking about eBay, Etsy, OnBuy, Bol, and for your website orders through places like Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, the advantage of outsourcing to a 3PL in this scenario is that we've already got connections into those platforms. So you can get selling, you can get fulfilling straight away. We complete the ecosystem by leveraging those established integrations, and you can automate and streamline all the information, and that saves you valuable time. So just to look at some statistics, and we thought this was quite interesting. Bol.com and Amazon, this allows you to get a real geographic footprint through fulfillment providers in multiple centers, and their connections to popular marketplaces in the territories. So around a third of Dutch shoppers visit Bol.com compared to a fifth that visit Amazon. So it really does depend on where you're fulfilling to and where your customer is in terms of what channel they're actually going on to. So, to take that into consideration when you're selling is going to be super key. The benefits of outsourcing, they are vast and wide ranging. I think a key for many is freeing up your time. So both large and small businesses, they're increasingly tapping into the potential of delegating order fulfillment and putting an end to the hassle of filling out shipping forms, arranging the packaging and other sort of chores involved with fulfillment. So as a business owner or manager, you have much to gain with the decision of outsourcing. You can leave all of the logistics to your fulfillment provider. That improves efficiency on your side. It allows you to relocate your time. And I talk about this really regularly with the clients that I speak to. It allows you to reallocate the time and your resource towards the more important things, which actually allows you to grow, so you don't focus your time. Reducing your shipping costs, big one. So if you are planning to ship all over the country, or to reach your international customers, because they do exist, maybe you're already selling internationally and you're just looking to scale. Many order fulfillment providers maintain robust logistical infrastructure and facilities throughout local, countrywide, and international destinations. They offer robust and reliable shipping networks that allow you to reap the benefits of lower shipping costs, as well as much quicker delivery times as well. Most fulfillment providers deploy high-tech tools to help you browse through the competitive shipping rates offered by a huge network of carriers, and that allows them access to the most sort of economical shipping rates in the market. So outsourcing will help you do that. Lowering your operating expenses and improving the order fulfillment overall. So it will help you reduce your operating expenses significantly. That allows you to have savings which can be reallocated throughout other areas of your company, again fueling more growth, which is why we're here today. Order fulfillment also allows you to pay only for the services that you require. So instead of enormous capital costs and wage bills that you might be experiencing at the moment, you just charged a flat warehousing fee for the storage of your products, which with Huboo, for instance, we have 2 months free storage within our hubs. It's a huge perk. And it's great for people that turn over their stock relatively quickly. They can send in a lean amount of stock, turn it over really fast, and not have to pay any storage on it. So there are huge benefits to that as well. All of your costs are scalable, both up and down, in a way that internal structures like perhaps the one that you've got at the moment, you just won't be able to achieve. So aside from the sort of seasonal increments or reductions in sales volumes that you might have, the ops costs should remain sort of highly stable and consistent while working with an outsourced provider. Penetrating new markets, we've kind of covered this, but the right order fulfillment provider can transform your business and just help you reach out dramatically to those new markets. Most sort of e-commerce businesses, they do require several years to build the infrastructure if you're doing it yourself, to gain the financial security needed to scale into those markets. So modern day businesses that outsource their fulfillment, they don't have to wait that long, which is great. They can extend their reach straight away. And it allows the business to go global and penetrate new markets across the world without the time and money required to do it. You might have to go and get a loan or get your own backing to do that. However, you can piggyback your fulfillment providers' resources and do that without that necessary funding. So if we look at what customers expect from a really great fulfillment experience, whilst there are general benefits, we're here to talk about how outsourcing can help when it comes to really nailing that fulfillment process, and thereby, retaining the new customers. So, what are they really expecting from a great fulfillment experience, and how can outsourcing help with that? So quick delivery, Fast arrivals, we know, have become a fundamental customer expectation. Convenient delivery options. So speed is important, but convenience is king. I think, offering collections such as click and collect, or, time day specific delivery, that's going to reduce your churn rate, especially as customers move away from working from home. But judging by the news tonight, that may not be so soon. So, really, really key to look into convenient delivery options for the changing world that we live in. Order status notifications. Modern consumers, they want to know where their order is, and they want it to be delivered to them. So when you provide those timely order updates through tracking, you're removing the anxiety from the customer during the delivery process. So, those customers are more likely to recommend your brand. Error-free fulfillment. I think the modern consumer is quite unforgiving. There's little or no scope for error in the fulfillment world. Huboo boasts an order picking SLA of 99.9%, which I believe is still higher than Amazon. You might not be able to quote me on that, but we know that nailing that builds customer retention, and to help achieve the desired rating across all your platforms with the customer feedback. And I think the last thing that customers expect from a really good fulfillment experience, whether you're doing it internally or outsourcing it, is simple returns. Shoppers, they want to be able to return their goods if they want to, without trying to get to a printer. They might not have one. They might have not used one working from home. So you've got to make it easy for them. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. You can use a standard returns process yourself, or you can use an integrated returns partner. These companies, they can create portals which you simply send out to your customers, and it will generate returns labels for them and give them a really good experience. And that's what a lot of your sort of high street big names will use if they're selling items like clothing, where there's that really high returns rate that they experience. So moving forward, how can you meet those expectations? How can you meet them and grow? So if we're thinking about quick delivery, a modern 3PL, they're going to store your goods, they'll receive your orders in real time, and you've got the staff on hand to pick and pack those orders straight away. And that allows same-day dispatch. It allows fast delivery from localized warehouses as well. Convenient delivery options. Huboo, we work with various carriers, meaning that we can offer different delivery options at different price points. We can give you a smorgasbord of options for your customers, allowing you to pick what suits best and allowing them to choose what works best for them as well. Order status notifications, through our integrations with carriers and platforms and order management systems and customer communication platforms. Good 3PL partners, you will have various options available when it comes to those updates, and that makes sure that your customer stays informed and that you don't have customer drop-off. Going back to that error-free fulfillment, customers are very unforgiving. So, of course, there can always be errors. But some are now using technology to, some 3PLs, they're using fantastic technology to achieve really good results. And something that Huboo uses are perfect picking scanning devices. We will scan a barcode or a QR code on an item, and if it is the wrong item, then our system will simply block the order and it will ask the picker to go and try again. So it massively reduces the chance of human error, and that's something that we have across all of our warehouses. So you can be sure that working with us, you will have that drastically low error rate or no errors at all. And simple returns. So like I mentioned, there's a few options there. Fulfillment partners manage that in-house. You can always use a partner as well. If you go for the hybrid approach, that's an option too. These well-established returns companies can help you manage that. And you've got sort of huge online retailers like ASOS, their services and infrastructure you can potentially access through your fulfillment partner. They'll have the partners and the software to potentially hook you up with a similar system to those huge high street names. So that's something that you can inquire on, and something that Huboo could potentially help you with as well. So is that all you need? retaining the new business is key all year round. We've discussed that. It's becoming particularly important during peak times. Some retailers do up to 40% of their business during the Cyber Week alone. We've just had Black Friday. Huboo was very, very busy, and we've seen some clients that they don't do a lot of business with us all year round, but suddenly they're hitting those huge numbers. So it totally depends on the product. The volume, for a lot of people, it doesn't slow down all the way into New Year. Last year, 77% of UK Black Friday transactions were online, which is huge, absolutely huge. And all that means is without preparation, if you're looking at growth, your sort of usual procedures simply won't meet the demands of peak times. That'll potentially lead to stock delays, delivery delays, and then critically bad experiences for the first-time customers. And whilst we've already discussed, partnering with a 3PL or using outsourced shipping methods can help you achieve a smooth buying journey in many instances. There are many things, probably too many for me to cover today, that you as a business owner can do to prepare as best as possible. There's a sales data side, website prep, listing optimization, promotions. But none of that will have the desired impact if your fulfillment doesn't meet the demands of peak. So few tips: contingency planning. A lot can go wrong in the rush to Cyber Week, so having contingency plans in place is a must. Brainstorm potential problems, think about the potential issues that you might come up against. Give yourself as many options as possible. Forecasting, it doesn't mean buying loads and loads of every single SKU that you have. Preparing, for a product spike, it does require forecasting. So look at your previous year's sales, look at your competitors, monitor what's going on with them, keep up with the industry trends if and where you can. And, if you are into your sort of depth analytics, look at some third-party statistics. Some warehouse management systems might be able to help you with that as well. So make those buying decisions early. Organizing your upcoming sales. It is always wise to plan any deals or discounts ahead of time so you know what they are. That means creating sales maps, scheduled promotions, shareable discount links. Those things make it easier to communicate offers and for your customers to access offers. So it will give someone like Huboo or your fulfillment partner time to put together any special promotions or product bundles, so we can get ahead of it as well. Your fulfillment partner, they like to plan their labor. So as much notice as you can give them, if you're outsourcing, will help you achieve that success. And then your omni-channel logistics. It's super important for your customers to have a consistent brand experience when they're buying from you. So it's equally as important for your fulfillment process to have consistency as well. Even if it's just during that peak time, you're going to be implementing an omni-channel, we hope, logistics solution. So all of your orders can be handled in the same way and delivered in the same way, whatever platform they're sold on, and whatever delivery option is chosen. And that brings us to the end. So I hope that was insightful. I hope it helps. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Rob. I remember when I started selling, and in the beginning, obviously, as you mentioned, a lot of us, we start from our house, living room, garage, all that kind of stuff as well. And it came to the point, like, I had to place a lot of stock inside a bedroom as well. and my wife was like, okay, well, we literally have no space whatsoever inside the house. So you have to, do something about the stock. So I ended up, buying a storage space and stuff like that. So it's we start from a garage, and then obviously if we need to scale, looking for a fulfillment option, especially as you mentioned, where you can kind of like not just Amazon, you can get the multi-channel fulfillment from one place. It's a really, really great thing that you guys are doing over there, especially coming from a person who's been your customer as well. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So a couple of housekeeping stuff is, first of all, thank you so much for everybody inside the chat. we have some polls running. If you click on a poll, then there are some questions. If you can answer them, that will be really, really helpful. And along with that, if you guys have any question, you can ask that question inside the chat. And I want to encourage you and let you know that no question is big or small, because sometimes when we ask a question, we might think, oh, well, I don't know what the other person gonna feel about that question. So don't worry about that. You can ask the question inside the chat, and we will try our best to go through each and every one of them. Uh, Let me ask the question first. We're gonna start from Temur. Once we are running a business, there are a lot of things that we need to take care on the front end of the business, on the back end of the business as well. But what do you think as a business? What are the things that we actually ignore? We don't optimize for those things, and you think those things should have been done first?
Well, when we are thinking or planning to start a business, and the first thing that comes to mind is a product or the market, and then researching the market, trying to find the right supplier, trying to understand where you can place yourself in this market, and trying to understand the competition. But to me, I think the first thing is to actually understand your numbers. So, you can plan all of it, and you can put them all together in simple Excel sheet, and just understand all of that you have planned. When it actually realizes, how would it look? Will you still end up making money to take home, or would you end up losing money? You can do all the numbers in your head. You're buying something for £10, Amazon fees another £5, and you're going to sell it for £20. You're going to get five. It never works like that. There's so many other hidden things, not hidden, but not seen as obviously as it should be. And your business needs a proper planning. So the thing that gets really ignored is the planning side, which involves forecasting, budgeting, and then working on that plan to then actually realize your idea into a real business. So start there and then move forward to the next stage of your business.
Yeah, obviously, in the business, especially if you're buying a new stock and trying to make a budget and see how much cash you have at the end, it's a fundamental of the business that I've been ignoring from a long time as well. But at the end, you have to know how much profit you are making. That's really a good thing. Melissa, what do you think about what are the businesses, what the business normally, like e-commerce business, especially the things that we ignore, but those things should have been done first?
Yeah, it's such a good question, because Timur is absolutely right. One of the things that I think is a really common, Aiden is saying hi. Hi, Aiden. I have a son named Aiden. He's 8 years old and he's adorable. But to continue on, I completely agree with Timur. It is very easy to get caught up in the ninja hacks and the exciting stuff and the branding. Oh my gosh, I could talk about branding for days. There's really exciting things that you can look at for your packaging and for the marketing side of things. And that kind of stuff is, it feeds my soul. But really what I think people fail to address early on is, what is their exit plan? What is their business plan? But especially, what is their exit plan? Is this a business that they want to sustain them for a really long time, or are they planning a 2 to 5 year, sale? And so, are they building this to scale and then sell? Are they building this as something they can pass on to their kids? Are they taking that into consideration, and all of the many paperworks required with that kind of a thing? It's a different way to build, and it's a different way of running your business, and really just knowing the plan, even if you change it later, you do a better job of preparing for that right from the start. So that means, just like Timur was saying, knowing your numbers, keeping track of your accounting properly. And I think that's something, just like we like to keep inventory in the garage or in a under the stairs storage or an extra bedroom, we also tend to I'll just do my own bookkeeping for a while. I'm just gonna handle this until it gets overwhelming. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't pass this on now, because then they'll know how behind I am. And so then that becomes its own roadblock for hiring somebody. You have to find all the receipts, and even that can become overwhelming if you've let it get that far. Another thing is liability insurance. These are not sexy topics. These are not things that people want to discuss. They want what's the new hot product? Where should I be sourcing right now? What are the, who's got the best company for logistics who, has a reasonable price? logistics all of a sudden has become a sexy topic, which is crazy, just because of the stock limits. But that's, I think really it comes down to getting back to basics. What, instead of looking at the ninja hacks, which are like, I would say this is like the dessert, right? The ninja hacks are the dessert of the discussion topics, and the veggies are the insurance. Making sure you have your patents or trademarks, making sure that you've set things up properly, making sure you know your numbers and that you have somebody managing your books, and that all of that is separate from your personal stuff, that things are set up properly for a business. You can't wing it anymore. We're at the stage with Amazon where they check up on these things. You have to have your stuff backed up. So I would say eat your veggies. That's what people need to do more of.
Yeah, you said absolutely right. I mean, there are some topics in e-commerce that we always like to listen, but I remember a time when a friend of mine, he's a fellow seller as well, a customer actually sued him, and I spoke to him because he didn't have a public liability insurance at that time. We don't really think about those kind of things as well. And I said to him, and I said, know the rules and all those sort of stuff, which are really basic, fundamental of running any kind of business, before a judge will actually read those rules to you. So, you have to be careful. There's a lot of kind of, people get kind of scared, and, it's not the topic that we like to discuss most of the time. John, what do you think? What is a back-end process that we should be doing first, and we normally ignore it?
Yeah, look, I think just to high level on that, I think that if I look at sellers, and we deal with sellers for every day for many years, but I think the successful sellers are those that make a decision and then execute fast on that decision, right? So that sounds simple, but you see varying degrees of people making decisions. They're scared to make the wrong decision. They sit on the fence. At the end of the day, you need to make a decision and inform that, and then move quickly and execute on that. Those are the people that really scale and become rapidly successful. And that informed decision is really based on data, right? And what kind of data you have coming into your business, so that you can make hopefully the right decisions for your business. Obviously, numbers is critical. Like, the kind of the soft benefit of knowing your numbers is ultimately it takes the emotion out of the decision that you're making, because some people are like, hey, should I carry on with this product? Should I do whatever? They're like, yeah, I want to hold on to it. But it's like, well, show me the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. Okay, well, the answer is clear. This is what you need to do, right? So there's a very important aspect of knowing the numbers. But I think the overall benefit from being able to execute quickly and making a decision and then executing quickly is discipline, right? And a lot of us as entrepreneurs, sometimes we lack discipline. We're crazy. We're risk takers. We're kind of out there, but you have to have that. It's a fundamental value and skill set that you have to have as an entrepreneur is discipline around your business, right? Which is numbers, data, and then the back end process of SOPs, standard operating procedures. How do you put those in place? And I think that's probably what I would advise people on is from the get-go, start with that idea of creating standard operating procedures, because as you scale your business, you need to be able to hand off those to people to be able to run parts of your business. When you sell your business, if you want to exit and you don't want to be involved in that business, you should have really good standard operating procedures in place. You need this as a global aspect of your business. So start from day one. We use it on our business. We use Notion, right? It's kind of a wiki, standard operating procedure, Wikipedia kind of site that you can have for your business, an internal process, mapping for every single process. Like, so any business you start, have a Notion or a similar software where you have one place where you can go and you can get anybody to start documenting processes, because that's going to be critical to being able to make decisions, move quickly, scale, exit, pass on your business, right?
I'm personally a huge fan of Notion. I think I use it like all the time. Actually I have a notes for my show right here, and I'm reading them from a Notion as well. So it's a really, really good productivity tool, all in one thing. And where you said, like, as a as a business owner, we like to call ourselves an entrepreneur and all that kind of thing. But for a very long period of time, I've been really kind of impractical. Like, I used to think that I want to do these kind of stuff, but never really put any kind of process in a place to achieve and do those things as well. So obviously being practical and taking action is really important as well. So Rob, uh, what talking to Rob, what advice do you have on finding a best supplier and forms of transport for online sellers?
Sure. I think it's a really interesting question. Obviously working for a 3PL, we don't experience the same pain, I think, that a business owner would trying to scour the market, trying to find the best solution. And I think my advice to sellers, when they go through this, is take recommendations. Really dig deep. Whether that's going, if you operate on different channels like Amazon, Etsy, go into those channel forums, ask other sellers, get the feedback, use Trustpilot. There are so many ways to kind of review. And I think, what we're seeing at the moment, certainly in the world of supply chain, is you've really got to play the spot market. So getting multiple quotes before you make a decision. I know that kind of contradicts what John said. You kind of need to make a decision and strike while the iron's hot. But whatever you can do within a quick turnaround of time, if you can get multiple quotes, really look into what the best option is, because it's quite wild. Certainly in the world of freight forwarding, for example, we're seeing really spiked costs, exporting and certainly importing goods, and people are really quoting different prices out there. I've got clients which are giving me 5 really wildly different rates. So play the market. If you do outsource and you go through a 3PL, a really great thing that you can do is capitalize on the experience of the people that work within that 3PL. I know some of my senior figures, they've got 20 years in the supply chain industry, and we've got a great partnerships team that will give you some good examples, and then you can go away and work off the back of that. So use the experience. If you're all by yourself, try and play the spot market, and yeah, that'd be my advice.
I mean, especially in the UK, as you mentioned, the shipping price from overseas, especially from China, it's way too high. Like, not I wouldn't even be exaggerating if I say 4 or 5 times higher, because I think it's a lot higher than that at the moment. So John, what advice do you have on finding a supplier and forms of transportation for online sellers?
Yeah, the fear of choosing the wrong supplier and getting your idea stolen and getting a crap product is pretty high. It's a pretty emotional aspect of our business. I think the good news is it's with asking good questions and having reaching out to different suppliers. I think any person with a grain of salt is going to figure out who's a good supplier and who's not, and using some good common business sense. So I think that's the first piece of advice, is like, obviously use screening questions, use your common sense to connect with the right supplier and find the right supplier, and have screening questions which are in essence, you're looking for a good price, but there's a lot more that goes into that qualifying of a supplier, because at the end of the day, you want someone who's going to be hopefully your partner for the next 5 to 10 years, right? As one of your suppliers. So treat them as a partner and ask questions around that, because I think that's really important. When you make a decision around a partner, to change that can be pretty expensive, right? So ask the right questions. I think in terms of supply chain and first of all, finding the right supplier. We have a partnership with Alibaba. This goes back a few years. We have a product called Easy Source, which essentially screens all of Alibaba for the right kind of partners for e-commerce sellers. So we do a lot of that screening automatically to help you connect with the right suppliers. So that's one thing. But in the conversations that I've had with Alibaba over the years, I mean, you know, they're aware of all of the problems that, and the you know, the objections we have to using Alibaba China suppliers. You know, hey, you know, are they going to steal our idea? You know, how do we contract the right ones? Are there an agents? Are there a manufacturer? You know, how can we trust them? You know, how do we get the best shipping rates? You know, all of those kind of things. They're aware of all those questions, and they absolutely are trying everything they can in a vertical aspect to be able to service us as e-commerce sellers, right? So they have a lot of programs coming out all the time. They've just recently released one, which is, you know, giving you a consultant, you know, helping you manage agents, you know, giving you that high level of service that they are just literally trying to give away for free because they want the business and they want that kind of longevity of a vertically integrated customer. So there's a lot there that you can get from those guys, even through to them right now addressing the shipping problem, which is like you can buy into part of a shipping container, right? Which is a practice that us Westerners sometimes haven't been able to see, but in China they do it all the time. That's how they get their product cost of goods at the price they have. They have like this massive, like, you know, detailed network of how you can get a part purchase on a shipping container and getting it over to the US, right? And they're now integrating that service into their side. So there's a lot of ways working with someone like Alibaba that you can get a lot of benefits from a vertical integration perspective, not just finding the supplier, but what else can they offer? They want to keep your business. They don't want to just get the manufacturer's sale. They want everything through all the way to delivering to the 3PL or the, you know, wherever the final destination is. So check that out.
Yeah, I mean, that's really great advice. But I remember when we started a business, a friend of mine and another friend of mine, he used to do wholesale as well. We used to share the container cost because, I mean, we didn't buy enough stock to be in a one container. That's really a good way to find a sort of system where you can share the cost of the container. Obviously, sea shipping is a lot cheaper than air shipping. Melissa, what advice would you have to find the best suppliers and, you know, transportation when it comes to selling online on eBay and Amazon?
Yeah, I think that these other, you know, the other speakers have given really good advice. It always pays to go to fellow sellers and see who they're using and what their experience is, and then don't just start up with them or, you know, get a quote and get going. You know, I think what Rob was saying about, you know, comparing prices and getting quotes from different companies is really important. And I will say that even though you gave that caveat, Rob, of comparing to John's discussion point about sometimes you just need to take action, I think that both those points are valid, and I don't think they disqualify each other. I think, you know, it's really important to make sure that you are acting, that you're taking action, like John said. But I think those are informed decisions. And I think sometimes the main point with taking action is sometimes you don't know, right? And this is when you get that analysis paralysis that I think hinders some people from carrying on with what they need to do. And that's when you just need to act and then maybe fail and then carry on. But in terms of comparing like freight forwarders and stuff, make informed decisions, especially now where it has a serious impact on your profit margins. And then, you know, I really loved John's points about this with, you know, sharing containers and some of the other things that you can do. But one of the other things I think some people don't maybe know is like it's a different culture, right? In China, it's a little different culture. So sometimes when you're talking to your manufacturer or someone and they're pulling out all the stops for you or they're agreeing to stuff, sometimes that's because it's impolite to disagree, not because they actually are going to say, yes, I can do that thing. So just knowing some of these things is really important when you're having these conversations, because even then your screening questions may not help you if you are not aware of some of these things. So I would definitely suggest reading Poorly Made in China. It's a really well done book, very informative, and it just speaks to some of the stuff that you should be aware of going into it. None of it is like negative about China or Chinese products or people or anything like that. It's very, very positive about how you can learn more so that you're well informed before you're doing that stuff. And then I would say, additionally, making sure that you have every single spec detailed so that there's nothing left to question, because suppliers often will try to reduce their prices, which they don't necessarily pass on to you, and that may change the quality of your product. So making sure that you have every spec really detailed out for what type of plastic, how, the thickness, the rim, and the distance between the rim to the, you know, the label or the, you know, whatever. All of that needs to be very, very detailed and very specific. And then additionally, you need to make sure that you're doing inspections. These are the kinds of things that, yeah, again, it's not really sexy topics, but those are the kinds of things that I think are going to set good sellers apart. They're going to have quality products. They're going to make sure that it's consistent, and they're going to have good solutions for their freight and stuff like that, so that they can maximize their profits. Otherwise, with the competitiveness, with the freight, with the increased advertising costs, you just can't make it unless you're looking at this from several fronts.
Yeah. What was the name of the book that you mentioned again?
It's called Poorly Made in China. It's a fairly famous book. If you look on Amazon, it's also on Audible. For those who like to listen to it while they do dishes like me.
At what speed do you listen? At 1x, 2x, 3x?
I do 1x. I have like 182 marketing books on my Audible account, and I just go through periodically. Like E-Myth, again, really good. I could list out a bunch.
Okay. I will definitely, listen to or read as well. Rob, I have a question for you. Somebody asked inside the chat, why would anybody prefer Huboo instead of Amazon own FBA system? And that's the question you are a person to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw it come up. I think it's the penultimate question, and we get it a lot. Some people will wonder, why should I switch from FBA to FBM? Why would I use an outsourced solution instead of Amazon's warehouses? I think Amazon is a channel which is king for a lot of product types. So if you're a seller that started out using FBA services, that might be quite convenient for you. But as soon as you do start to develop and grow, like we've been talking about today, you're going to be branching out into other channels. And, as far as we're concerned, once you start doing that, then things start to become a bit more difficult with Amazon. Where they're quite strict, an outsourced solution like Huboo is quite flexible. The way that we onboard, the way that we work with clients, large clients get a free key account manager. We're there every step of the way, and we've got multiple open lines of communication. My sort of feedback from other clients that I've worked with in the past say that, certainly getting hold of an account manager at Amazon can be quite a difficult task sometimes, whether that's, emailing, speaking to a recorded phone message. So, we really capitalize on the omni-channel clients, people that want to branch out. That's not to say that if you only sell on Amazon, you shouldn't work with us. It's all down to preference. I think certainly where Huboo comes out on top is with that flexibility. So, if it's anything that's slightly complex, maybe you have a bit of kitting or a bit of bundling or, something slightly ad hoc, it's very, very easy to do that with us. And whilst we won't be able to beat Amazon's rates all of the time, being the big beast that they are, in some places we can be more competitive than them. And our sort of market analysis has showed that we can be. And that, that'll be in places like storage, it'll be in places like picking, and those little things that, perhaps you don't think of when you're only focusing on the fulfillment rates, but they really do add up. So it's definitely down to preference. But I can understand the question. It comes up a lot.
Can I add to that just real quick, Zane?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
I just had a question for Rob. Do you also send to FBA and then you also fulfill for FBM for multiple marketplaces?
Yeah, again, a really good question. So when Huboo started, we actually didn't ship into FBA warehouses at all. That's simply because their inbound's quite strict.
Right.
like we talked about, labels got to be in the right place, and there's lots of guidance to follow. So as we were growing, it's not something that we typically did. We didn't have a process for it. That's starting to change now. So when we're looking at the larger clientele that we work with and the smaller as well, as we start to embed more processes into what we do, we are starting to offer that. So
okay,
if clients...
I wanted to just I wanted to clarify, because I think part of the question here is interesting, because I would say I'm not sure how anyone at this point with the increased stock limits can handle their FBA without using a 3PL. You just have to have like a really detailed, very thought out plan ahead of time to make sure that you're staying in stock, you're not running out of stock, because that stock out is like oh my gosh, that's going to cost you so much money if you get to that point. And so if you're not using a 3PL, I think that's to send to FBA and using those in tandem. I think that could potentially lead to some trouble.
Yeah, it can be quite harmful. Whether you use a 3PL like Huboo or simply an FBA prep service, I think it's crucial, because during the pandemic, right at the beginning, we had such a flurry of clients approaching us because Amazon were constricting the goods in, and you were only able to ship in a certain amount of goods, and that really hurt a lot of people. So for the people that didn't have that outstanding 3PL connection already in that relationship, they were really struggling. So it does work like an ecosystem. You need the 3PL to be able to support your FBA. So yeah, I totally agree with that, Melissa.
Yeah, that's so yeah, especially obviously when it comes near the seasonal time, I would say like having a 3PL as a backup can be, it's compulsory, because I mean this year I don't have any restriction, but last year we had a restriction of 500 products for one SKU, and I mean 500 products near the Black Friday and Christmas can be gone in weeks. So it's it's good to have a backup plan as well. So Temur, the thing is like I want to ask you something. Once we, especially as a new seller or even as a established seller as well, uh when we look to buy a product from China, and then we know there are a lot of people going to be selling that product on Amazon, and they might be bigger brand, how do you come across these kind of things, and what would say to those people who will say, okay, well, is it too late to start selling on Amazon or eBay? If you can quickly wrap this up for me, because we are just running out of time, so I want to get a last word from each and everyone.
I'm sure. No, it's definitely not late. It started a while ago, but it's just now picking up, and this is the time to be on in this segment. E-commerce, Amazon, Shopify, wherever you can be. So it's not late. It's actually the start. Get on with it and just compete. Now, in terms of the competition itself, yes, it's very fierce out there. US is one of the most competitive markets. UK is still getting hold of it, and then there are quite a few other markets being introduced as well. You just have to be different. You just have to be differentiating your product from what is currently available, and obviously, go through the algorithms and see how actually Amazon and different platforms work. It's not as simple as just looking at buying a product in cheap and then selling it with a bit of a margin. You have to see how you can get your products into top of the list and then get those numbers in, get those sales in. So you just have to understand how this whole thing works in essence.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the price does matter. It's the biggest factor when it comes to launching a new product. But I always say it's not only thing. You have to look at the listing. You have to see how their PPC is running. You have to see how their picture looks like, what their feedback. There are tons of stuff goes into once you are launching a new product. So on the last note, I want to ask everyone one question, and I want John to go first. What would be the one piece of advice would you give it to anybody who is selling online, and where people can find you?
You're muted, John.
Did I made you?
No, it was me. Sorry.
Okay. No.
Any advice for people selling online? There's a lot.
I wanna know the secret that you were hiding. I mean, come on, you have to tell us today.
I think the one secret I would say, and something to look at as an online seller is like, understand that Amazon is incredibly good at what they do, right? From a primed perspective, they have Prime. They are looking at their own ways to expand, right? So they are putting a lot of efforts into new markets. Australia, India, UAE, all of these markets, and they take their blueprint, which is distribution, and they completely crush that market, and they do incredibly well, right? Any Australian retailer is like shaking in their boots right now, just seeing what Amazon is doing there. So, I think expanding your kind of focus beyond just obviously Amazon.com, some of the European, like UK, some of the smaller European markets are all viable right now, and it's going back to competition levels of 2016. I mean, literally, people are launching products on Amazon Australia and some, Amazon France, some of these, and they're like, it's pretty easy to get to page one now, and it's viable. There's enough demand, there's enough, conversions that you can have a really strong business there. So that's one kind of like thing that I've been focusing on a lot and quite excited about is the expansion into these new markets, because if you look at the percentage retail of India, for example, it's like, I don't know, it's less than 3% of e-commerce retail, right? And you have billions of people, it's one of the biggest marketplaces in the world, just ready to kind of, completely take off. So if you can get on, it's not only your kind of competitive growth that you're doing, but there's a natural organic growth with just, as people come onto that platform and start using it, that you're just going to benefit from. So if you can just literally get onto those platforms and stay in stock for 2-3 years, you 10, 20, 30 Xing your business, just that, it's a huge opportunity that we shouldn't miss out on. So that would probably be my advice for e-com sellers is, whether you're starting or looking to expand, look at other marketplaces. You have to do that in the right way, at the right time, with the right capital, with the right expansion plan. But it's an interesting thing to look at. You're on mute now, I think.
No, I was just kind of getting that feeling how it feels once you start out. Okay, so if we need to find you, where we can find you? I mean, what's the best way to get in touch?
ZonGuru.com. We have, just check out our support team there. Most of them are sellers. They're ready. They're willing and eager to help you. We have a bunch of educational material. We have a bunch of free services that are available, certifications, challenges, seller, researches, people starting, enterprise level. It's all kind of there. So check it out. You'll find what you need there and kind of engage with us there. Instagram is also worth following if you're looking for new product ideas. It's kind of dedicated to what makes a good product, what doesn't make a good product, how to find new products. You can check that out as well. So a whole bunch there. Jump on and connect with us.
Thank you so much, John. Melissa, what would be the one piece of advice would you give it to anyone who is selling online, and where people can find the more information about ZonGuru?
I would say definitely keep doing what brought you guys here to this webinar today. One of the things that is going to stay, the only constant that we're going to keep carrying on with for Amazon selling, for e-commerce selling, is that there will always be change. And it's usually going to just punch you right in the gut if you're not on the lookout for it. So keep attending webinars. Keep, if you can do live events, make sure and do that, because what you'll notice is one thing will stand out, or maybe 3 things will stand out from each of these things that you listen to, and that will help guide you a little bit in following that person for more tips, and who you can trust for certain types of information, and who you don't really need to worry about getting content from. The more of that you can consume, it's just a proven fact that if you're spending 3 hours a day on something for, I think, a period of 3 or 5 years or something, I don't know, my math is not great, but you just become an expert. You can't not become an expert because you're consuming knowledge. So continue to do that. Read books, like Poorly Made in China, Power of Habit, things that, speak to knowing your customer and selling to what they need. Because all of that will help you. And if you, if at any point you think you know enough, that's when you need to really double down and start learning more. But that would be the best advice I could give. You guys can go to eva.guru to find out more information about Eva, repricing tool, replenishments, stuff like that. And also we have a help desk, an FAQ, and it looks like there's a link for this webinar, which is bit.ly/EvaXAwesome. So you can use that link. It's in the chat, and that's how you can find us.
Thank you so much. Yeah, links are everyone who is here with us today are inside the chat. Rob, what would be the one piece of advice that you want to give, and where people can find more information about Huboo?
Sure. Yeah, I think they'd go in tandem, really. You can find us at huboo.com. We recently just changed our domain as we're going international, so that's where you can find us. You can learn a wealth of information about what we do and how to outsource on that website. And I think for all of the upcoming sellers, if you are interested in growth and you're interested in interesting services and partners, a really great place to find some good information would be just through our LinkedIn page. Our partnerships team works really, really hard to not only work with tech-enabled companies, but all the kinds of people that our sellers really want to partner with. So, if you want to learn about some really cool new businesses, stuff that's going to help you scale, something that's going to help you manage your financing better, there's some really cool stuff that goes up on there really regularly. So have a look at our LinkedIn, see if any of that might help you, and hopefully it will benefit you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rob. The link for the Huboo is inside the chat as well. Taimur, what would be the one piece of advice that you want to give it to e-commerce seller, and where people can find more information about Osome?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you everyone for those piece of advice. I'll be using them for myself as well. Great stuff. But overall, look, every company, especially like Osome, Huboo, ZonGuru, Eva, we are all using millions of pounds to create an infrastructure on a specialized area, and so that you don't have to do it and you don't have to spend that money or energy. So my advice would be to use this. So use these ecosystems that we are building to automate the whole process of e-commerce side of things. You have a fulfillment center, you have pricing center, you have accounting, finance that can automate the whole thing. So rather than creating your own team and going everything from scratch, you are an e-commerce business, everything is online. Use the bodies that have already done the research and created those systems, and then jump on the wagon and just get your products out there and start selling. In terms of contacting us, the website is there, but you can always contact us on osome.com, refer to this webinar, and we'll be there to help you.
Thank you so much, Taimur. Link for the Osome is inside the chat as well. I want to thank you, each and every person in the chat, for being here. I know listening to me, especially for this longer period of time, is not easy. I understand that. No, I mean, we have a great panel today. That's why it gave me opportunity to talk less. Otherwise, I will be just doing blah blah blah. Really, I want to really thank you to each and every guest here today. The link for everybody is inside the chat. If you want to know more about them, what they do, how you can take and make most out of their services, the link for everybody is inside the chat. Personally, to me, if I give one piece of advice to anyone, I've been selling online from 10 years, and I've been a full-time seller for 3 years now. I would personally say there is no secret, to be honest with you. The secret, I know we like that word secret, but there is no secret. The secret is only learning something new about selling online every single day, the thing that you probably didn't know before. And if I tell you that, from 5 years, or I don't know, 1 month or 1 week from now, you will be making this much money, all you have to do is just stay consistent and learn something new every single day. then you will say yes to that. But it will be very hard for me to kind of convince you to sit here and say there is no secret. The secret is only hard work. And that's what I think. I don't consider myself to be in a position to give you some advice. At the end of the day, I still consider myself a e-commerce student. But in the position where I am, I don't consider myself a beginner seller. I am somewhat established seller. It's all been a hard work, to be honest with you. And there is tons of information that you can find from our guests website. Everybody have a great piece of resources on their website, like for example John on their website, on eva.guru, on Osome website. There are great resources. Other than their services, there are great resources just to get you up and running. It's, I mean, we guys are not sitting here and asking you have to use our services. At the end of the day, that will be entirely your decision. And but the thing is, like, you have to go visit there. There are tons of information about Hubu as well, how you can make your fulfillment as fast, as smooth as possible as well. So I want to encourage you to just go have a look for once and see how you can make most of out of it. uh, and also we have this series, we have a part 4 for this one as well. This is part 3. And if you can, still you are here already, if you can register for part 4 as well. And on that note, thank you very much, and we will see you soon.